What is up, you guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Reagan if you're new here. Today, I'm going to be talking about some recent life lessons that I've really been reflecting on that have just really helped me a lot. They've helped me a lot. Some are based on the book The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, pretty sure. I just read that book, and I have just been, if you've been here a long time, if you've been here from the beginning, I posted my very first YouTube video nearly a year ago. It's a year, I think it was October 23rd, 2024. First YouTube video I ever posted. I was in such a different stage of my life back then. And I actually rewatched the video the other day before I recorded the most recent podcast episode that I had. So I was just like, the story, the situation that I was in back then speaks so directly to trusting divine timing, trusting God, universe, whatever you particularly believe in, but trusting God, trusting the timing of everything, and why there is true purpose behind those periods of life that feel like just absolute garbage, where you feel like you're stuck and lost and not aware of what you actually want, and just completely what the hell is going on with my life? Nothing's working out. I feel like I'm bashing my head into a wall, and it feels like nothing is going correctly, and I can only trust in the universe for so long. Crazy to go back to that time period watching that video, because I'm like, shit, I was there. I remember that. That was me who had that experience, and it fucking sucks. It sucks to feel so lost and confused and unaware of knowing where I wanted to go, but feeling like I just did not have the means of getting there, and I didn't know how it was gonna work out, and I was just hoping that it would, but then I was worried and anxious and whatever, and just really anchoring into knowing so deeply, especially looking back, because hindsight's 2020, that everything was working out exactly as it was supposed to get me exactly where I am now, and exactly where I ended up with dream job situation, things working out so well for me with perfect timing, the things that I thought I wanted, the ways that I thought I wanted it to work out, that was the image of perfect in my head, was so different than how it actually worked out, and the way that it actually did end up working out was significantly better than what I even thought was the best case scenario. And it's easy for me to say that looking back now, but in the moment, it feels like garbage. It feels like absolute crap. If you want to hear a deeper conversation on this, listen to my most recent podcast episode. If you're watching this on YouTube, I just said if you're watching this on YouTube, no fucking shit. If you go on YouTube, you'll see it's one of the most recent, should be the most recent video after this one. But if you just go to any podcast platform you listen to, Spotify, Apple, whatever, should be there. The Organic Podcast, spelled the same way as this channel is. But I go deeper into just trusting everything, and why periods of feeling stuck serve a purpose, and how it actually helps you, and how when you're in a point of life where you feel like you're in a rut, or you're miserable, or things just aren't working out, it's always happening for a very specific reason with intentionality behind it. You always are getting something out of it, because you're either being shown very, very, very directly, this is something that does not work for you. This is why you're miserable. If you are miserable, that's a sign to say, turn in the opposite direction. This is not where you're supposed to be. Because your highest expression of joy and happiness in life, that is the North Star that you have to follow. If you are living fully expressed as yourself and happy and in complete fulfillment and alignment, which is, by the way, in the best interest of God, universe, whatever higher power you want to believe in, for you to be happy. And if that's true, everything that's happening to you is being orchestrated for a very specific reason to get you to that point of happiness, because overall the world is a better place when everyone is happy, in alignment, feeling connected to themselves, emotionally regulated, able to live their best lives. How good would the world be if everyone was happy, regulated, confident to be pursuing their highest form of joy and what they really want? The world would be fucking fantastic. But we're lost from that, because as the book The Four Agreements puts so well, we're all living in this dream of hell, essentially, confining ourselves based on the stories we tell ourselves in our minds, and the ways that we think the world has to be, and taking everything so personally, making assumptions about everything. We're all just making ourselves more miserable than we have to be. by being so attached to these beliefs and thoughts, and just like thinking the way that you're living life right now is the only way that you're ever going to live it. And if you're feeling bad or stuck, then it's like you're just stuck there, when in reality, the purpose of feeling stuck, lost, like in a transitional period like I was last year at the beginning of this whole YouTube channel, is so that you can be shown, like, this is not where you're supposed to be, you need to turn the other way. Or in my case last year, like, I was shown where I was miserable. That's why I was not working for 3 months in the first place. And in that transition period specifically, my challenge was to actually just trust and be patient. And I was heavily rewarded for taking the leap to go in the opposite direction of what made me miserable, go towards something that seemed a little more risky, but I knew would actually bring me so much more joy. And I ended up with a job that I actually really, really like, using my degree, getting to have the work format that I want, like surrounded by great people with great opportunities, and just like, oh, like the heavens above, God blessed me. He truly did. Even still, to this day, like I'm still enjoying my job so much. I'm being shown so often, over and over, how many ways things are working out for me, big and small. Like opportunities I'm being given specifically, like certain projects to work on, certain people to work with, like it's always lining up so perfectly. And if I could go back and tell that version of myself who was stuck and lost and confused one thing, it's like, you hate to hear it. You hate to hear when you go through it. I talked about it in the podcast episode. You hate to hear it, to just trust, to just wait, but just surrender, whatever. Because, like, you get to a point of surrendering and trusting for so long where you're like, okay, I'm done. Like, when is this happening? Like, am I just delusional at this point? But once you get to that point where you feel like you're at kind of like the bottom, or like rock bottom, you're like, I don't know what the hell to do. That is usually a fantastic time, and like some of the most transformational time in your life, because you make decisions, like you are pushed to the point in like the rock bottom so much that you make decisions that like catapult you out of them, that like start shifting you forward, like moving the blocks out of the way. Like you get past that state of like static friction into like kinetic friction, and you keep moving forwards, and like stuff actually starts shifting because the rock bottom gets you so uncomfortable that you actually start to make a change. And it speaks to like why feeling so stuck or feeling like you are not happy where you are can be a good thing, because it's direction. You're being given a map. You're being given a compass that's saying where you're facing right now is wrong. Like, that's not where you're supposed to go. You're supposed to turn around. You're supposed to go the other way. You're supposed to do this. But I talked about it in my podcast episode too. More to the story than what I've said with my whole, how I got to the unemployment, post-grad despair era, finding the job, changing, grad, whatever. There's a lot to it. I'm not going to go into it. But if I was not able to actually just like if I was not so uncomfortable where I was, like if I was just comfortable enough to be like, oh, it's fine, like I guess I can endure it, it's whatever, it's not that big of a deal, I never would have been pushed past the threshold that I needed to be pushed past for me to actually make the decisions that changed my life for the better, because I was miserable. You see what I'm saying? You need to endure a certain degree of suffering to be able to actually like get past the comfort zone of changing. Because many people say this, I've heard this a bajillion times, you might have too. But until the comfort of staying the same, no, it's like, if the comfort of staying the same outweighs the discomfort of changing, you're always going to stay the same. But if you are so uncomfortable staying the same, like the comfort, there's more comfort in actually changing your situation. That's how it was for me. And you can choose to make life decisions that get you to a point where you're making positive change in your life from a place of empowerment, and even knowing like, this is out of my comfort zone, but I'm going to intentionally do that. Sometimes you need a kick in the ass to get there. And sometimes being miserable and stuck is how you get there. That's how it was for me. So the reflections that I've had lately, like really thinking back on that time, it's like, wow, I had like that's just like, it's just cold hard evidence. I was shown, there's proof directly in front of my fucking eyes, looking at me talking in that video last year, miserable, unwell, but still knowing I had the same exact mission and vision and goals and like desires that I've carried with me my whole entire life, to be talking about this stuff and posting and like changing the actual scope of like how we see the world. Like, follow the breadcrumbs where they lead you, and you will find alignment. But it takes a certain level of discomfort and like just fucking YOLO sending yourself into the fire to get there sometimes. I don't know if any of that, I'm not going to say that. I was going to say, I don't know if any of that's helpful, but shit, this would have fucking helped me last year. Like, if I could have looked a year into the future, I would have been like, oh my God, I don't have to worry at all. Everything's being taken care of for me. Like, the greater powers that be above us, God, the universe, it can orchestrate things in ways that are, like, incomprehensible to the human mind. Literally. So why are we even trying to control? Why are you even trying to control exactly how things are going to happen, and, like, just choosing to be fearful of the worst case scenario rather than hopeful of the best? Our brains are wired for negativity. Our brains are wired to anticipate bad things happening because it keeps you safe. But, like, at some point, you have, like, free will to change what you focus on and still be safe, still be comfortable, still know that you're gonna survive if you think and trust and truly believe that, like, I'm choosing to have faith right now in this thing that I cannot see. I do not know for a fact whether or not it's going to work out or whether or not it's going to be perfect, but I'm choosing to believe that it will be. I'm choosing to believe that that's an option for me. That's the good side of the coin. That's where ideally you want to be. But the other side of it would be choosing to also believe in the fear that you don't know if everything's going to go to shit or it's going to go bad or whatever. So, like, what if I just assume that that's going to happen and then I'm going to feel safe because I'm at least, like, assuming the worst case scenario is going to happen? Protective mechanism, like I said. But which one actually serves you more? Like, which one serves you in your highest joy and happiness and expression of, like, your most authentic, organic self, living about your life in the way that your soul wants you to? Like, which one serves you more? Which one would your soul pick, knowing that everything's happening exactly for a reason? Like, you would pick the faith. You would pick the fact of knowing that things are going to work out for you. Like, trust things are happening in your favor is in the highest interest of God for you to be happy, to make this world a better place. So trust, even if you're going through some shit right now, that's there for a reason to get you to a place where you're going to be happier. But we experience life on highs and lows. There's cycles to everything. It's part of why I got this fucking tattoo, because literally everything is cyclical. There's seasons of learning to everything, and it happens in spirals. It happens in an upper spiral of learning and going through the same experiences and the same suffering and the same whatever to come to different levels of joy and abundance and happiness and wealth, whatever it may be. But it's a similar kind of experience. So if you're going through a low, just everything balances out. You're going to go through a high. It's like physics. Every action has an equal opposite reaction. It's just basic. Like, that is a literal, like, one of Newton's, like, that's literally just physics. That's just science. That's the most, like, rock hard science you could get for people who think that is, like, woo or whatever, to believe in, like, cause and effect or karma or whatever it may be. Everything happens in cycles. You see it in the world around us. You see it internally within you. You see it, like, everywhere. Nature, human, society, everything. Everything comes in cycles. And if you're going through a low, that means that it is just in anticipation of going through your high. Okay? Promise. And if anything, it's just going to keep getting better. Because even if you think, oh, I'm going to go on a high, well, what about the next low? Guess what? You're going to be in a much better spot in your life when you're going through the next low. You're going to have so much more experience behind you that, like, riding out these waves of highs and lows, it's going to be a lot easier because you're going to become a lot better at surfing. Promise. I promise. Don't know where that analogy came from, but it did. And I also wanted to get into the basics of, like, the 4 agreements that I really liked. This is a book, guys, that I was literally sitting down reading it, and it was one that I was, like, just sitting silently at a kitchen table reading, you know, like, the lines of it. And it's very easy to follow along with. It's a short book. Like, did not take me long to read it. But it's one where I'm like, these are just actual facts. They're, like, facts of life that, like, I cannot, like, refute at all. Like, the principle of the book is living life by the 4 agreements listed in there. Helps you get out of this, like, you know, mental prison that you create for yourself based on the stories you tell yourself, the assumptions you make about people, taking things personally, and, like, not doing your best. Those are the 4 agreements. The 4, like, listed out. It's be impeccable with your word. So, like, be mindful of the words that you are believing, the stories you're telling yourself, the words that you are repeating over and over, talking about other people, like, saying things about yourself, questioning your own, own ability to achieve things, like, the limiting beliefs. Be impeccable with your word. Like, speak only highly of yourself, speak only highly of yourself, and speak positively about yourself, and focus on, like, the happier, good side of things rather than talking shit about people and, like, thinking that you're incapable of things or speaking negatively to yourself. That's the first one. Second one don't take anything personally. This is like the core principle of like why you shouldn't care about why anyone else judging you, because everyone else living their life through their own lens of perception. And it doesn't matter if someone's fucking obsessed with you or if they hate you. They're seeing you through their own lens. Like, neither is objectively true. We're all just our own individual autonomous beings. And if we are living happily for ourselves, inspired by like the desires of our soul and not hurting anyone, then like doing great. Doesn't matter what anyone thinks of you. Literally no one cares. All that matters is what you think about yourself. And when you take things personally, when you like take someone else being in a bad mood as like something that is like your problem, you're just taking on their own like emotional burdens without, like, you don't have to do that. You don't have to assume these things, which goes to the next thing, like, don't make any assumptions. You don't have to assume, like, making assumptions about things and taking things personally. Think about how much suffering that gives us. It's such a like mental, emotional burden that we're probably just so used to and conditioned to that you don't even realize. And the last one, do your best, kind of speaks to more of like, it's not as like philosophical, I wouldn't say, about society, but it's more so like, do your best to live by these rules, to like support yourself in your life in the best way that you can, to like achieve this level of happiness and autonomous freedom over like your own creation of your reality, because like that is what will serve you, and that is what keeps like the quote unquote internal judge, the voice of like judgment in your head, being like, you can't accept any judgment, because if you're doing your best, like that's all you can do. You're doing your best. But those 4 agreements, I'm like, damn. If everyone was like mindful about the words that they believed and spoke to themselves and to one another, if everyone stopped taking everything personally and like realized that everyone else is living through their own reality and lens of judgment that like is completely irrelevant to them, and if everyone stopped making assumptions about other people, about other people's like feelings and beliefs and like the what ifs of everything, and everyone just tried their best to like be themselves and enjoy life and like be just like a good person, how different would the world be? How different would the world be? Pretty freaking different. It'd be pretty crazy. Like, these things make a big deal, make a big difference. And reflecting on them just has me like, I keep yelling at, as a joke, I keep yelling at my boyfriend whenever he says something, or like I say something, I'm like, oh, be impeccable with your word. Be impeccable with your word. Because it's like, it's true. Your words come out of your thoughts and beliefs, which like the repeated thoughts and beliefs program the stories of your life. Your story programs the stories you believe program your identity, which informs your like personality and how you show up in the world. And like your thoughts, beliefs, personality, that forms like your experiences of life, which then creates basically your entire life. It all starts with your thoughts. It all does. I'm not the first one to talk about this, and I won't be the last. Every time I say that, I just think of the TikTok that I made that blew up. But yeah, I hope that this had some food for thought for you in this episode, in this video, technically not an episode. And I just want to get back on the camera and start yapping again, because y'all haven't seen my face in like a month. So welcome back. Listen to my podcast if you haven't. It's on all platforms. I forget if I said that already. But there's a lot of good stuff in there. And if you liked my YouTube videos, you're going to like the podcast too. I promise. I know we're not in the hundreds of thousands for numbers right now. And I'm still technically to this day not even a year into posting on YouTube and like really posting on socials. But it just means a lot to be sharing from the heart. And I never really cared about numbers or anything like that. I just wanted to, like, there's a lot that needs to come through my voice to be channeled to the world. Like, there's a lot that I think I have genuine capability of like changing in the world, that starts with like these videos and sharing and whatever. I don't know how it's gonna look in like another year, another 2, 3, 5 years, whatever, but all I know is I'm still gonna be doing it. They're still gonna be here, not going anywhere, unfortunately for some of you, but not going anywhere. So with that, I'm gonna go eat some food, go be your most organic selves, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.